Proud day to be a Tiger, huh, Boog?
Yeah, it's good, man. It was definitely fun watching the guys play on Saturday night. The place looked electric, um, and more than anything, it was just good to see the kids compete. That's the way LSU should be, man. Big games at night in Tiger Stadium, over 100,000 people there, and to see the offense perform with such efficiency against a defense and a respected defensive coordinator like Ty Grantham. I've been skeptical. I go back to the spring when I first saw this offense implemented. I'm very skeptical just because I come from the old guard. I think you got to be physical and running the football, but there's different ways of doing it. And Joe Brady and Steve Ensminger and this offense, they made me a believer. And so I know I've told you guys I'm going to wait till after the Florida game.
You did.
Well, the Florida game is come and gone, and when you put up 42 points with 47 plays, I think.
Insanity.
That's unbelievable. And so, you got to say that this offense is for real now. The offensive line played well. I thought the tackles had their best game of the year.
Yep.
I was very pleased with Deculus. I know he's been a guy that's come under fire. I thought he had his best game. And just overall in general, man, it's really good to see the team complementing each other. The defense missed some tackles, couldn't get off the field a few times, especially on third down. But every time that they couldn't get off, the offense came back and picked them up. And so that's what good team football looks like. Good win. But just like we used to always say back when I played years ago, when you win a big game, it just makes the next game bigger. And so this game at Mississippi State, on the road, 2:30, the Cowboys, the cowbells are going to be ringing. It's not as big of an atmosphere in Starkville, and so it's going to be important to come out and get off to a fast start against the Bulldogs.
Boog, LSU fans know what they have in their offense. They're secure with Burrow. He's probably the best quarterback in college football. What do you see from this defense?
Well, I think the defense is going to be fine, man. I think what you saw is I actually like what I saw, and here's what I mean by that. LSU is primarily a man coverage team, okay? You can't play man coverage every down. You got to be able to line up and mix things up. And so I was impressed with David Aranda's ability to trust some zone coverage, mix things up. Third down, they brought some more blitzes. Marcel Brooks came in, adding another element to the rush. And I just saw more creativity this week, just overall in general. Yeah, I know every fan out there wants a 3-and-out every series. That's not going to happen. Okay, Dan Mullen is a really good coach.
Yeah.
There were some schemed-up plays. But overall, I was very pleased with the defense. I just think that the more creative we can be with our pass rush, specifically on third down.
Yeah.
And if you saw what happened on third down, like Florida knows we're going to be in man-to-man on third down or blitzing. So because of that, they schemed up a couple screens.
Yep.
And that's nothing against the LSU defense. That's just a really good play against the defense we were in. So you got to become a little less predictable. And I think if Dave goes back and self-scouts, he'll see that. And so although I'm not, overly ecstatic with our defense, I was very pleased just to see some new creativity in how they went about their business.
Talking to Monday Night Football's Booger McFarland here on Off the Bench.
Who we're talking to. I do this every week.
I knew you were going to do this. I'm
just saying, but
shut up!
Can we
Shut
talk
up!
football without all the resets?
Listen. You're probably sick of talking about this by now, but I feel like I have to ask because this is after Monday Night Football. What is your opinion of the current state of refereeing in the NFL?
Well, I think, as we all know, it's an imperfect science, and anytime you ask human beings to be subjective, what I see and what you see may be two different things. And I think everyone is going to pile on because of what happened Monday night, and it was two egregious calls. And, it really bothered me just because I saw Detroit, who were playing their butts off, and Trey Flowers, who is an SEC kid, went to Arkansas. I know him a little bit. He is just a tremendous kid. And for two penalties to be called on him in those situations, when video clearly showed me that they weren't penalties, it was going to eat him up at night. He wasn't going to be able to sleep on Monday night. And so I felt compelled to say something. And, maybe I went a little too far. Okay, so be it. Boog never really cares about that. I just kind of call it how I see it.
Did you hear from the league?
No, I hadn't heard from the league. If I do, I'm not sure what they're going to tell me. They can't tell me how to do my job, just like I can't tell them how to do theirs.
Love it.
My job is to be honest with what I see. I'm responsible to the people at ESPN talking about the game, and as long as I'm honest and fair, then that's what I have to do. And I think everyone in America saw it. So how would that look if everybody in America sees the penalty and I say, man, that's a great call by the ref there, and I lose credibility. So refereeing needs to get better. I think it's always going to be an imperfect science, and hopefully, with the whole replay, and I know it's a touchy subject, especially in Louisiana, because of calls that were missed, but there have always been calls missed. I just think that with so much emphasis put on replay, what we want to do is when everyone in the country can see that a call is wrong and we can't fix it. I think that's the big issue for me. Like everybody in America, there's 15 million people glued in to the game at that time, and we all saw that it was the wrong call, but we couldn't do anything about it. And I think that's the part that bothers people in Louisiana, and I think it bothered everybody on Monday night.
Boog, the other big NFL news of the day is this Jalen Ramsey trade, man, which, well, maybe not unexpected. That's a hell of a price tag that the Rams paid. My take on it is that they're kind of sacrificing depth and long-term stability for short-term success. That it seems pretty risky, right? Because there's no guarantee that they'll even win in this NFC West. What do you see when you see 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick for Jalen Ramsey?
Okay, so first of all, when you asked me, I didn't ask for your takes. Like you have the entire radio show to give your take, Bob. So when you have a guest, you're supposed to ask me my take, and then later on you can come back and give your take. That's number one. Number two, I think Jalen Ramsey is okay. I don't think he's great. Like if you were to list the top cornerbacks in the game, I think Gilmore in New England is number 1. I think Jackson Peterson is number 2. I think the kid out of Mississippi State, Darius Slay, is number 3.
Fred Smoot was talking about him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean he is really good. I mean Jalen Ramsey somewhere, 5, 6, somewhere in there. So to give up 3 picks, 2 1s, and a 4 for a guy who is not Darrelle Revis, he's not Champ Bailey, he's not Deion Sanders. To me, I'm not really sure if I would have made that move if I were Les Snead. But if you look at what they had with Talib and Peters, guys who really weren't playing that well, they were living off name and status alone, not really merit. I understand what Les Snead did. I just wouldn't have done it.
Boog, how good is the Saints defense?
Really good. And I think it's good because the front 4 is starting to become really, really dominant. And if you look at what San Francisco is doing out there, San Francisco has 5 or 6 guys up front that can actually dominate. They got a couple of linebackers in Warner and Quan Alexander that can run and hit. And the secondary just kind of plays off of them. Well, if you look at New Orleans, Sheldon Rankins, Jordan, Davenport, guys that are starting to kind of move around and create havoc. You got DeMario Davis, Anzalone when he gets healthy, like guys that can run and hit the linebacker position. And then the secondary, Lattimore seems to be in shape, so he's back on form. P.J. Williams and Eli Apple, they are going to be what they are, which I think they aren't super, but in that scheme they can play really well. When you have guys that can play their role, which the Saints have, then the defense can be really good. And they beat Jacksonville because of their defense, and they beat the Rams because anytime you go against teams in those positions, not the Rams, I'm sorry, Seattle, anytime you go against teams like that and your defense can play well, it always is going to give you an opportunity to win.
Boog, I'm going to help you out, teach you how to do your job a little bit here. I'm going to give you a nugget that Jeff Duncan discovered. The Saints were 0-16 in games in which they scored less than 14 in the Peyton Breeze era. They are 3-2 in their last 5 games where they've scored less than 14.
Boog, last one. We'll get you out of here. LSU and Alabama, number 1 and number 2 in the country right now, and it seemed like they lead in all categories. Is that how you feel about New England and New Orleans in the NFL?
No, I think right now, and bear with me, I want to, it's a lot of teams in the NFL, so let's just look at this. I think the best team in the NFL is still the Patriots. I think if I had to go number 2, I would say the 49ers. Number 3, I would probably go Seattle. 4 right now, I would go Houston.
Look.
5, I would go New Orleans. Right now with Teddy Bridgewater, you give me Breeze back, and I'll put him a little higher. Teddy Bridgewater's playing well, but guys, I mean, you scored 13 points against Jacksonville. To me,
3-2. That's a magic number. 3-2 with 14 or less. They're fine with scoring 13.
Well, yeah, I hear you. I mean, they're playing well, but I mean, that offense is not dynamic. With Drew Brees, Michael Thomas becomes a top 3 receiver in football. With Teddy Bridgewater, he's not, he's okay, but he's not the weapon because Breeze knows where he wants it, when he wants it, how he wants it. So the Saints, when Breeze gets back, like Teddy Bridgewater's doing an amazing job. When Drew Brees gets back, then I think the New Orleans Saints are going to be back where we thought they would be, which is one of the handful of teams that when we get to January, they're going to be playing for something meaningful.
Yeah.
And I think right now they are learning that they can win a different way, which is really, really good. And I think it'll give Sean Payton more patience. I think it'll make Drew Brees appreciate the football more, not that he doesn't. But if you're a quarterback and you have a defense, it allows you to be selective when you take your chances. And, I think New Orleans is going to be outstanding when it comes to that. Like, I think right now we have as much parity as we've had in the NFL in a long time because even though the 49ers and the Patriots are probably the top 2 teams right now, if you look at the New England offense, their offensive line's not very good, T-Bob. If you look at the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo's kind of been a little suspect. So
Yeah.
I still think that there's parity even though some teams are undefeated.
Boog will be on Monday
Love
Night
it.
Football with the Jets and the Patriots coming up this Monday, and he'll be back here next Wednesday talking about it. Brought to you by Central Plumbing Company. Thank you, Boog. Have a good call.
Absolutely. T-Bob, I'm gonna send you the bill for the interviewing tips. Just make sure you mail it back.
We'll close that hour 1.